understand maybe, to know that it could work it could work so many different ways, but it's important to know how it works if you do business with one of the companies, so that you understand who you're really doing business with. But a contracting entity that's owned by a parent company, I guess, and that contracting entity really gets hired by all these other 100 companies that the parent company controls, but might have partnerships with other people.
Right, I mean, just like Diane mentioned, I mean, sometimes you bring in institutional money, so there might be different ownership in different groups. But when we're talking about our entity that does the contract, it doesn't have Van Meter in it, it's Virginia Residential Construction. And a lot of the trade partners always ask about that. The main reason we're doing it, and Diane's absolutely right, that there's more liability from that standpoint, but we do it, we do 400 to 500 homes a year, and we don't want to have to sign up. We have 15 communities, we don't want to have to sign up our trade partners for 15 different contracts, so that's why we do it that way. So kind of look past the liability and look at it from the efficiency standpoint.
So, go ahead.
That was going to be my question was, we do a lot of work with a lot of it, I appreciate that. Other than Cattler, we do work with Cattler, when we send proposals to them, they insist on putting their entity name, to that project. And even when we invoice them, we come up with Cattler, we have to put that in. So every project like that, but I noticed a lot of you have different separate entities, but we just send it to MI Home, Stanley Martin, Van Meter. How does that work in a, God forbid, in a litigation issue?
Well, I can tell you with MI Homes, we sign contracts, MI Homes of DC LLC. So we were just talking about, we only have one LLC for each of our divisions. So MI Homes happens to own the entire company, MI Homes of DC LLC, but it is a separate company. So you're only doing business with MI Homes of DC LLC.
Yeah, I mean, that's what
You're not doing business with MI Homes. And we'll sign the contracts that way.
And with Stanley Martin, you're doing business with the parent company that is the management company, effectively, Stanley Martin Homes LLC. The properties are all owned by single purpose LLCs.
So now that sounds like it's really complicated. It sounds like, well, I thought I was doing business with, sometimes employees don't necessarily know who they're working for. I thought I worked for, right? But they work for this other entity that's set up for some legal reason.
We have an entity set up just for payroll.
Yeah. So they don't really work for Van Meter Homes. They work for Van Meter Badada. Right.
I mean, Van Meter is a trade name, for lack of a better word. And so to answer your question, the legal answer is, and you actually do business with us, and you're signed up under Virginia Residential Construction. It's great that you reference Van Meter when you do that, but if you ever had, you won't file a lawsuit against it. If you ever did.
You wouldn't twice.
Kessler is the only one that asks us to have to do that. I noticed none of you guys do.
Yeah, well, then we're making a mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
Our
doing
guys are supposed to be doing that.
They're doing it the right way.
Yeah.
Ultimately, if it says it on an invoice, it's not a big deal, in my opinion, but the attorneys may disagree with me, but.
Officially, we get paid.
Damn lawyers.
By contrast, we have a national contract with you guys. At that point, we're dealing with the principal entity. Would that be correct?
If you have a national contract that's signed by MI Homes, Inc., you have the contract, so that if, for example, if there's a dispute with the local division, you can deal with the national entity. Yeah. So you better give us an affirmative price.
Fantastic. We're working on these guys.
Yeah, but with all that being said, Van Meter, Stanley Martin, or everyone else cares about the reputation. And their name is on everything they do, whether it be just for marketing or for legality. Their name being on it means a lot. And even though these structures are set up in a way that affords some protection, the companies generally will not look to that as something they ever want to have to even think about. If someone from Stanley Martin made a promise and agreed to do something, regardless of the entity, the likelihood is very, very high that that will get done just the way it was done, was promised or agreed to. So that, you know, even though the lawyers are all about risk management and this, and some of the business people in the companies are, the bottom line is we want good reputations. Everyone here wants a good reputation because referral business, the ability to get great partners to work with us, has to do about our reputation as much as anything.
And Jerry, well, we bankrupt an entity, excuse me, we've never bankrupted an entity to walk away from a promise that we had. We're set up to do that way so the whole company doesn't come in if there's a major problem, but we've never done that.
You know, for what, 50 years,
60 years.
60 years.
That question back here.
Oh, sorry. Jared, what I was going to say was, and what we tell our clients when we put all of those quivers in the arrows, so to speak, of the contract documents, is you don't have to use these, okay? Invariably, most of the time they never are, but it helps us out if there is that what-if scenario, and particularly what I found is with home builders is they treat you the way you treat them. And, you know, the problems that I see, the lawsuits that arise are folks that are, maybe it was the downturn, or maybe they're just that sort of contractor or supplier that are a problem going into it. But it's useful for us to have those in there for those situations, but 99 times out of 100, it's never even thought about because your reputation is good.
If I could just tag on to that, this business really is all about people, and know who you're doing business with, whether it's a banker, realtor, trade partner. The difficulties that we have sometimes are when an entity is sold or goes out of business that we're doing business with. The recession, the banks, that where you thought you had a relationship, a trade partner that may all of a sudden be bought up by a corporate entity that's up in Philadelphia or out in Colorado, and all of a sudden you can't get your cabinets anymore. You know, these are the issues that we run into. That I found over the years that we, particularly all of our relationships through NBDIA, that when we know who we're doing business with, we can pick up the phone. We don't have those legal problems.
If you got to pull out your contract, you got real problems. Unfortunately, there's only a couple people in the room that we do business with, but I would not sign our subcontract agreement, I would not sign our sales contract. It's pretty interesting, but generally, it's only going to come out of situations like that.
And I have to say, since we are one of your subcontractors.
You signed our subcontract?
We signed, yes. And you was talking about the invoice, you are covered because even though it's paid by Van Meter Homes, there's the subdivision, say for Hamilton, and then the lot, and everything like that. So you guys go very well, so thank you. And there's no, that's been an issue. Do what you say you're going to do, you're fine.
Right.
I had a question, and that is, if you have these separate single asset entities, do you guys rely on recourse financing or non-recourse? Does that make sense?
You're probably going to get a different answer from everybody.
Anytime you can get non-recourse, that's what you're relying on.
We have a guarantee company, so we have a company that puts up, and that's the only recourse. It's not personal signature. Back in the late 80s and before that, it was personal signatures, now they use it. But we have grown enough that we just have certain entities that have net worth, and that's our recourse for the most part on all of them.
So the structure The world looks a little different down here in my end of state. I've lived in that environment for a number of years, and I think what you'll find for the smaller home builders is there's a lot more variety in the way we structure. My structure is extremely vertical. There's pretty much me, and there's this handsome golden lab that lays on the floor next to me. That's about it. So what really comes to Diane's point, what really becomes important for companies such as mine are those relationships. I don't have a land company. I don't have a marketing department. I don't have in-house design. So my relationship with my engineers and my realtor has to be really solid. Perfect example, I got a call 2 nights ago about a particular lot that a potential client wanted to meet me, and we agreed to meet the next day. So in the morning, I called my engineer. I said, hey, I'm going to meet this client on this particular lot. What can you tell me about this lot? He stopped what he was doing, produced a ton of information for me, so I was able to show up at the meeting 4 hours later, very well prepared. I had some background. The soils consultant had done a number of houses in that area. I was able to speak to the quality of the soils. I was able to speak to what's been done in the neighborhood. I was able to speak to the zoning and so forth. Now, I won't get an invoice for that, but they do pretty much all my work. So if the job comes my way, the job goes to him. So those, the relationships, Diane really, she couldn't be more accurate about that. When you don't have the structure in-house that we have, or that these folks have, you folks become a lot more important to us. The other side of that is financing side. I've had to develop relationships with commercial banks, and I will generally structure anything that is, well, first of all, we're not working for ROI, we're not working for stockholders, we're working to try to avoid having to reach into our own personal savings and pull out additional money to get out of any particular project. That's a bad day, and it's all recourse, full recourse. But I will do, occasionally I will do a separate LLC if I have outside investment money coming in. And a lot of our decisions with for my peers, I'm going to call them peers more so than competitors, because to be honest with you, a lot of the information that I use to make decisions really comes from relationships I've established with my competitors. There's a group of guys, well, there's the Custom Builders Council inside of NVDIA, but then there's a group of us with similar approaches to business, similar experience levels, and we'll talk a lot about what's happening in the market, what we see happening with the trade base, what's happening with pricing from you guys. So that, again, the relationships become really, really important to us. But it's a very, very vertical structure. We pretty much have to wear all the hats. You guys got to help us out.
And we need your help too. But we have those layers of legality in the middle. But the bottom line is we usually don't, it's very rare that we rely on any of the layers of legality. It kind of works the same way. It's just a little more difficult to get through all those, sign all those things with bigger buildings. And we talked a little bit about finance, I heard here. Public home builders, almost all of them are kind of the same way. The money that they use to finance their operation is typically coming from the corporate office. I don't have to go out and find money. I get phone calls sometimes from bankers, hey, we do construction loans. And I say back happily, we don't need construction loans because we, on a corporate basis, have money from the shareholders, from the originals when stock is floating. But we have public bonds that we issue. We have lines of credit that work for the whole corporation. So every time at our division we write a check, I don't have to think about is the money there. We just keep writing checks. Now, once in a while we have to sell things and put the money back. But by and large, if we're doing that, we don't have to worry about writing the checks. And writing those checks, it could be $10 million for a land purchase or more. But, and usually we ask before we do that. We always ask before we do that.
True, it doesn't.
But that's different. Good guy. Sometimes you gotta stop. That's a big difference, very big difference amongst companies. And even some of the public companies are structured differently, where they might have partnerships with Wall Street investment companies, Wall Street banks, BlackRock, or a Baupost who's been coming into this area, or a Miller and Smith with Nash, which is the largest home builder in Japan. One Loudon is half owned by Nash. Sekisui is the name of the builder, and they have banks, and there's other entities that have come into the United States to partner up with builders. Traditional ones, like BlackRock, Baupost, I just know of those two, but there's many of them. And more often, they'll partner up with land developers who will, but some of the building companies, like Miller and Smith, for example, they really operate as a developer and a builder. Stanley Martin to some degree, but not, and Van Meter certainly to some degree, but they kind of separate their entities a little more, I think. But some of the builders, One Loudon is a good example. It's Miller and Smith. You don't see Sekisui House written anywhere, but they're a 50% partner. And they sell lots. They're not just the builder, Miller and Smith there. They sell to MVR, and I think Mark might have just gotten in there, and Winchester Homes, a bunch of commercial entities, Alamo, Movie House.
Yeah, that was my question. So when you were talking about the structure of Toll Brothers and how their land and their construction is separate, I mean, so basically their land, if I'm not mistaken, their land is actually basically marketing to them, but they're marketing to other builders as well, correct?
The Toll Brothers actually generally doesn't.
Okay.
When I was at US Home, for a long time, we had a land entity that would be responsible for buying land, and then they would come to us first. We had first shot at it, and they'd say, it's going to be $125,000 for a finished lot, and we have 150 of them. What do you want to do? And if I didn't feel like I wanted to buy 150 of them, I said, I think 50 is okay because you're overpriced. Occasionally words like that would do. And frankly, that's why that system was changed, because there was too much, the land entity became too independent, and they would sell at the same price to our competitors, and the land entity made a lot of money, but it didn't give us the opportunity that we were supposed to get, because we're owned by the same shareholder. We would make more if you just sell it to us. You'd make your profit, we'd make ours, but that doesn't really go on to, that was maybe 15 or more years ago that they stopped that.
The distinction is whether or not your land group is a profit center or not. So you can generally tell from a development standpoint, if these large PUDs are being developed, they're typically run by a land group that's a profit center. Whereas, I don't know if your guys' land group is a profit center.
It's not, I mean,
Our group is, we develop lots we build houses, we will sell lots out, but it's not the core function of the group.
we'll do it in the same way that we'll sell lots. If we have a couple thousand lots and we want to get some cash in the door early, we might sell. We've sold NVR before. We talked about it before about